Today we will see Banger's algorithm for deadlock avoidance. We know that a system will be having a finite set of resources. Resources means the things which process requires for execution. For example, like printer, tape driver, etc. Okay, so several processes can request these resources available in the system for their execution. Now, if one process is requesting the resources, these resources can be granted if they are available. But if suppose this process is requesting for a resource which is held by another process, this process has to wait until the other process releases the resource. Okay, so there can be a situation where several processes are requesting for resources and each process is waiting for the next process to release a resource, and the waiting process is never again able to change state. That means in the resource allocation graph, as all we know, the resource allocation graph represents the different processes along with the resource request state. So the processes and resources will be there in the graph that is shown by edges. So I am not going into detail into that. You can have several processes along with the resources requested by them. So if the resource allocation graph, this waiting state of the processes can be shown, and it is actually showing a cycle where different processes are waiting for each resource held by another process. Okay, so that situation is known as deadlock, and we need to break the deadlock. We need to break the cycle in order for the process to continue execution. So there are several mechanisms for handling deadlocks. One such mechanism is deadlock avoidance. That is, we are trying to avoid the deadlock initially before the system can continue. So if a process is requesting for a new resource, that is, a new request is coming from a process, we assume that we are granting the request to the process, and we are checking whether granting this request is leading the system to a deadlock state or not. Okay, so I will repeat once more. We assume that when a current request comes from a process, this request is granted to the process, and after granting we are checking whether the process is coming to a, that is, system is coming to a deadlock state or not. So if deadlock state is not coming, it means that granting this request is successful, so no deadlock will occur. Okay, so the current request of the process is actually based on the resources currently available. That is, how many resources are currently available in the system, then how many resources are currently allocated to each process, and the future request. Future request means in future how many resources can be requested by process. So each process can actually request multiple instances of each resource. That is, more than one printer, more than one tape drive, etc. Okay, and releases of each process. That means we assume that when a process completes execution, that is, after using the resources, the process can actually release the resources, and these released resources can be added to the available resources. So total available resources will be the current available resources plus the resources released by the process. Okay, so that available resources can be again allocated to some other process if it is requesting. Okay, so this deadlock avoidance, one of the most important algorithm used for deadlock avoidance is Banger's algorithm, which is applicable to a system with multiple instances of each resource type. That means, for example, not one printer, two printers, three tape drives, etc. That is, same resource type, more than one instances are there. So this is in deadlock avoidance algorithm, which is applied to a system with multiple instances of each resource type. Now, For all deadlock avoidance algorithm like Banger's algorithm uses a concept of safe state. That is, whether to know a deadlock has occurred or not, we consider a safe state. What is a safe state? A state is safe if the system can allocate resources to each process, that is maximum resources required by a process in some order, that can follow any order and still avoid a deadlock. Suppose if there are 5 processes, we can allocate the resources required by the 5 processes in any order, but no deadlock should occur. That means there should be such a sequence of processes in which all the processes are getting the resources required by them. All processes are getting resources required by them, and finally all the processes are complete. So if such a sequence is there, that is known as a safe sequence, and if we can find at least one safe sequence for a system, then we say that the system is in safe state. If we can find at least one safe sequence for a system, then we say that the system is in safe state. So in general, we can say there are sequence of processes P1, P2, etc. up to Pn. That is, n processes are there. It is a safe sequence for the current allocation state if for each Pi, that is for each process, the resources requested by Pi can be satisfied by the currently available resources plus the resources held by Pj with j less than I. That means, suppose if Pj process with j less than I is completed and the resources are released by Pj, we can add these resources to the currently available resources. So that using that number of resources, we can actually grant the request of Pi. So if such a sequence of processes are there, it is known as a safe sequence. Now for Banger's algorithm, several data structures are required. So suppose if small n is a number of processes and small m is a number of resources, then we can use different data structures. Like first one is available. Available means it is a vector of length small m. M is the number of resources. So the available vector will be of length of the number of resources. Indicates the number of available resources of each type. So if available of j equals k means k instances of resource type Rj are available. Okay. So next is max. Max means, as the name indicates, it is the maximum demand of each process. So if n processes are there and m resources are there, max is an n into m matrix, and if max of ij equals k, then process Pi may request at most k instances of resource type Rj. That means this Rj resource has k instances. The process actually requests for maximum k instances of the resource Rj. Next is allocation. Allocation also, if there are n processes and m resources, then it is an n into m matrix which defines the number of resources currently allocated to each process. For example, if allocation of ij equals k, so first I actually indicates a process number and j indicates a resource number. So if allocation of ij equals k, then process Pi is currently allocated k instances of resource type Rj. Now need matrix is also an n into m matrix. So remaining how many resources are required by each process. So if need of ij equals k, then process Pi may need k more instances of resource type Rj to complete its task. That means need of ij equal to max of ij minus allocation of ij. So these data structures has to be remembered while implementing Banger's algorithm, and also the number of processes and resources has to be read. Okay. Now next we will see an example for Banger's algorithm. Before moving to the algorithm, we will see an example for Banger's algorithm. Now suppose if you have 5 processes P0, P1, P2, P3, P4, and each of the processes having an allocation matrix like this, that is A, B, C are the different resources. So for A resource, if you take process P0 has 0 instances allocated, that means no A resources are allocated to process P0. Then B1, C0. Okay, similarly P1 200, P2 302, P3 211, and P4 is 002. And max is also given. What is the maximum number of resources of each type required by each process? So P0 requires 753. That means 7 instances of A resources maximum required by P0, 5 instances of type B is required by P0, and 3 instances of type C is required by P0. So similarly P1 has max matrix 322, P2 902, P3 222, and P4 is 433. And the available resources are also given. How many resources are available in the system? 332. That means 3 instances of A are available, 3 instances of B are available, and 2 instances of C are available. And suppose a new request is coming from P0 process and it is requesting for 102. That means what? P0 is requesting for 1 instance of A, 0 instance of B, and 2 instances of C. So ABC equal to 10, that is a request from process P0. So here we are only implementing the request algorithm of Banger's algorithm. That means request part. We are not actually finding save sequence and resource request separately. We are actually finding a save sequence after granting the request. That is, we are assuming that the request has been granted to the process, and after that we are finding whether there is a save sequence or not. Okay, so suppose if we assume that we are granting, the system is granting 102 to P1, then the allocation value of P1 will be, initially it was 200, so you need to actually add 102 along with 200, so that will be 302, and the available number of resources will be decreased. That is, once you have allocated 102 to P0, then so it is P1 is requesting. Okay, is P0 some mistake has happened in the slide. It is P1 is requesting for 102. So allocation of P1 will be 200 plus 102, that is equal to 302. So available will be 332 minus the 102. Okay, 102 resources are allocated to P1. So 102 after subtracting 230 will be the available resources. Now after allocating P1 this request, the new state of the system will be like this. Allocation value will be P1, it is changed to 302. Previous slide it was 200, now it's 302, and all the other values are same. Okay, available is also different. Available is also, we have subtracted the value. Now we need to find need. Need matrix is actually max minus allocation. So we can subtract the max value of each process from the allocation value, and we will be getting these values, that is 743, 020, 600, 011, and 431. Okay, so the algorithm actually works by finding the need value and then checking whether the need of any process is less than or equal to available. So if this any of the process starting from P0 to Pn, that is n minus 1, here there are P0 to P4. If any of the process the need is less than or equal to available, then we can actually take the process and we assume that resources requested by that process are actually granted. And after that, the next step is you need to change the available value. Available value will be the previous available value plus the allocation value of that process which is taken. Okay, because when we are actually allocating to that process, we assume that after using the resources, the process is releasing the resource, and we can add that release resources along with the available resource. So we will see the example here how it works. So first, when you see P0, P1, P2, P3, P4, for P0 the allocation value is 0, 1, 0, and this is 0, 1, 0. So this is 0, 1, 0, and the 0, 1, 0 max value, when you check this max, the need value 743, it is not actually less than or equal to available. So when you check it is less than or equal to available means all these three values should be less than or equal to 230. So it is not possible to take P0. So we just go to the next process, P1. P1, when you check need 020, that is actually less than or equal to 230. So this available equal to need is 020 less than, so we assume that this is granted. The needed resources to P1 is granted, and the available becomes 230 plus 302, that is 532. Okay, then this is a new available. So you need to, next step, you need to check the need of each process with this new available. So next, when you check P2, it is 600, that is not less than or equal to available. So next we move on to P3. P3 need is 011, that is less than or equal to 532. So we assume that the resources are granted to P3 and the available becomes 532 plus the allocation value of P3, that is 211. Here you are adding the allocation value of that process. So 743. So this is a new available. Next is P4. P4, when you take 431, that is less than or equal to 743. It is always coming from this order, that is serial order from P0 to P4. You can actually go back once this iteration is over, that is from 0 to n minus 1 is over, you can again continue checking from the first process. So P4 it is granted, so available becomes 743 plus 002, that is the allocation value of P4. So 745. Okay, then P4 is completed, again it is checking from P0. So P0, again when you check, it need value 743. Now it is 745 available. When you check, the 743 is less than or equal to 745. So you can take P0 and the available equal to this available plus the allocation value of P0, that is P0 allocation value 010. So you are taking 010. So 755, this is a new available. Then already you have visited these processes, so there is no need to take P1. So next is P2. The remaining process is P2. So when you check P2, the need of P2 600 is less than or equal to available 755, and new available becomes 755 plus 302, which is the allocation value of P2, and total number of resources. Finally, you will be getting the available values, total number of resources available in the system. So the save sequences, all processes you have actually granted the resources requested by them. So the sequence followed is actually P1, P3, P4, then P0 and P2. So this is a save sequence. So Banger's algorithm, our aim is to find a save sequence. If there is a save sequence for the current request, it is after granting the current request, if there is a save sequence, we finally arrive at the conclusion that the system is not in a deadlock state, so we can actually grant the resource. Granting the resource did not lead the system to a deadlock state. So this is a basic principle of Banger's algorithm. This thing is P1 actually written by mistake as P0. P1 is requesting for 102. Okay. So kindly note that. Now, next we will see the Banger's algorithm. Now for algorithm, first of all you assume that we are actually using, we are not assuming, we are actually using this instead of matrices we are using one-dimensional array. For allocation, max, need, etc. we are using one-dimensional array for making the program simple. So if you want you can use two-dimensional array, this matrix, etc. But here I have actually used one-dimensional array for storing allocation value, max value and need value, and available as a vector, that is also a one-dimensional array. So we need to create the structures for resources in the system. So when you create the structure, it will be having these elements: allocation of 10, max of 10, need of 10, and there is a flag variable to indicate whether each processes or are actually visited or not. So flag variable we will be seeing later. Initially the flag will be set to 0 for each process. So whenever this process is actually taken, the flag is actually set to 1. Okay, so we are initializing the variables, and count variable is also used to indicate the number of processes. Then available of 10 and sequence of 10. Available is a number of available resources, and sequence is used to indicate, sequence array is used to indicate the save sequence. So we read the number of processes and resources, and for each process you need to read the allocation matrix, that is as a one-dimensional array corresponding to each resource, and also the max value, and we initialize the flag to 0 for each process. After that you read the available resources. Available resources common for the system. Then you read the new request details of a process. For example, if P1 is requesting for 102, so you need to read the new request details of a process, which process is requesting and how many resources are requested by the process. And we assume that, as before said, new request is granted, and we are checking whether this is leading to a deadlock state or not. So modify the following data structures: allocation of that process equal to allocation plus new request, and available will be obtained by subtracting the new request value from the available value. So available equal to available minus new request. Now for each process I is equal to 1 to n, you need to repeat the following, that is you need to calculate need. So first of all we are actually granting the resource to the requested process. After that only we are finding need. That is after changing the allocation value of that process only we are finding the need. So you need to find the value of need as max minus allocation, and this step is optional. If need is less than 0, you can set need as 0. The need should not be less than 0. Then you initialize count and FL variables to 0 and repeat the following steps until count equal to n. That is for n number of processes you have to repeat the following steps. So first you initialize a variable g to 0. Then you check whether this flag f of j dot flag equal to 0. Okay, that means j is actually indicating the number of, that is the in order to take the process we are using j. So for each process j we are checking whether that process is visited or not. So if f of j dot flag equal to 0, we are initializing another variable b to 0, and for each resource 0 to r you repeat the steps, these two steps. Check whether the available value is greater than or equal to need of that process. So here you are checking, listen carefully, you are checking need of each resource. For example, if you have 102, that means you need to check the first value 1, then next value 0, next value 2. So each of the element of the array is checked with the other element. So available of P. P means what? P is 0 to R. So how many resources are there? That is actually repeated. Available P greater than or equal to the process dot need of that resource. Then we just increment the variable B by 1. Else B equal to B minus 1. So after exiting this loop, if B value is equal to the number of resources, that means what? If all the resources, the element is actually less than or equal to the other element, then the B will be equal to R. So we know that that process can be actually granted the resource, and we can mark the process J as visited and add the process J to the save sequence. So the save, for indicating the save sequence, we have used an array, that is sequence array. So you need to add the process to the sequence array and set the flag of J as 1 to indicate that this process is visited. Okay, then modify the available value of that process at available plus allocation. So available new will be obtained by adding the allocation value of that process along with the previous available, and increment the count, which indicates the process, and set G equal to 1. So G equal to 1 means what? G equal to 1, G variable is actually used to indicate whether the system is in safe state or not. So that means if G equal to 1 means the process is in safe state. If G equal to 0 means the process system is in unsafe state, not the process, system is in unsafe state, and we can actually print the process max, allocation and need. So finally you need to print the process along with their max value, allocation and need value, and print the save sequence also.